Welcome to my channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, how do they do it? They seem to reach their goals. They stay calm, even in stress. They look confident, happy, and full of energy. And then, there are others. They work hard but never really move forward. They get stuck in the same place for years. Maybe you have felt like that too, working, trying, but still not seeing big results. So, what is the difference? What is their secret? Today, I am going to share with you something powerful, the 7 habits of highly effective people. But wait, this is not just another list of tips. This is a guide. I will walk with you step by step. You will not just hear these habits, you will understand them. And more than that, you will feel ready to use them in your life. It doesn't matter if English is not your first language. In fact, this lesson will help you learn English while you learn life skills. Every habit I explain will be in simple words. You will see examples that connect to your life. You will be able to practice the ideas immediately, even today. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you wake up one day and feel in control of your life. You know what you want. You know how to focus on what matters. You can handle problems without losing your peace. You can work with people and inspire them. And most importantly, you feel like you are growing every single day. That is what these 7 habits can give you. So, stay with me, because once you know these habits, you will never see life the same way again. And you will not want to miss even one. Chapter 1, Be proactive. Take control of your life. Let's start with the first habit. The habit that opens the door for all the others. It is called be proactive. Now, that word might sound big, but I promise the meaning is simple. Being proactive means you do not just wait for life to happen to you. You make life happen. You take action before problems come. You choose your response instead of just reacting to situations. Think about the opposite of proactive, reactive. Reactive people wait for something to happen, and then they respond. They let their mood, their decisions, and their energy depend on things they cannot control. If the weather is bad, they feel bad. If someone says something rude, they lose their temper. If life gets hard, they stop trying. In other words, reactive people let the world control their life. Now, let me show you the difference with an easy example. Imagine 2 students, Ali and Sarah. Both have an English exam in 1 month. Ali is reactive. He tells himself, I will start studying when I have more time. Weeks pass. He spends hours scrolling on his phone. 2 days before the exam, he starts reading quickly, but he feels stressed, unprepared, and nervous. Sarah is proactive. She knows the exam is coming, so she plans ahead. Every day, she spends just 20 minutes studying English. She reviews vocabulary, listens to short English audios, and practices speaking in front of a mirror. When the exam day comes, she feels calm, confident, and ready. What's the difference between Ali and Sarah? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's the habit of being proactive. Sarah didn't wait for the perfect time to study. She made the time. She took control of what she could do every day. The same is true for learning English, or for anything in life. Many people say, I will start learning when I have more free time. Or, I will start when I have enough money to join a class. Or, I will start when I feel ready. But here's the truth, there is no perfect time. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will wait forever. Proactive people don't wait for everything to be perfect. They start with what they have, where they are right now. If you have no teacher, use free videos. If you have no partner to practice with, talk to yourself in English. If you are shy, start writing small sentences in a notebook. The key is to do something, not tomorrow, but today. I want you to remember this. Proactive people are not superheroes. They don't have magic powers. They are just normal people who make a choice every day. The choice to act, not to wait. They take responsibility for their life. They focus on what they can control, not on what they can't. There's a small exercise you can do right now. Take a piece of paper. On one side, write things I can control. On the other side, write things I cannot control. Under things I can control, write things like my effort, my attitude, my daily habits, my words. Under things I cannot control, write things like the weather, other people's opinions, the past. Now, decide to spend your time and energy only on the first list. That's how proactive people think. Here's a little story to inspire you. A man named Nick Vujicic was born without arms and legs. Many people in his place would feel hopeless. But Nick chose to be proactive. He focused on what he could do, not what he couldn't. Today, he is a famous motivational speaker who travels the world inspiring millions. If he can choose action over excuses, so can we. In your English learning journey, being proactive might mean speaking even if you make mistakes. It might mean listening to English audio every day, even if you don't understand everything at first. It might mean writing your thoughts in English before bed, even if they are short and simple. Every small step you take today builds your confidence for tomorrow. Remember, life will always give you two choices. You can wait and hope, or you can act and create. Being proactive does not mean you will never face problems. It means you will face them with courage and solutions. And here's the best part. Once you start living proactively, you will feel a new kind of energy. You will stop blaming others. You will stop waiting for luck. You will start believing that you are the driver of your own life, not just a passenger. So start now. Think of one small action you can take today for your goals. Not next week, not next year, but today. That is how change begins. Proactive thinking is the foundation of all other habits. But having a strong foundation is not enough. You must also know exactly where you are going. Because if you don't know your destination, even the fastest action can take you in the wrong direction. That's what we will talk about in the next chapter. Chapter 2. Begin with the end in mind. Know your direction. Now that you understand the power of being proactive, we move to the second habit. Begin with the end in mind. This habit is all about knowing your direction before you start walking. In simple words, it means you should see the destination in your mind before you begin the journey. Everything in life is created twice. First, it is created in the mind. Second, it is created in reality. Think about any building you have seen, maybe a school, a hospital, or even your own home. That building did not appear from nowhere. Before the first brick was placed, there was a drawing, a plan, a clear idea of how it would look. The builder didn't just start putting bricks together in random ways, hoping it would turn into something nice. Imagine if a builder worked without a plan. One day he puts bricks here, the next day he changes the wall, The next day he builds a roof in the wrong place. The result would be a mess. The same thing happens in life. If you live without a clear goal, you end up busy but not moving toward anything meaningful. This is why you need to create your life twice. First in your imagination, then in your actions. The same is true for English learning. If you don't know your end goal, you will keep doing random activities without much progress. One day you watch a movie, another day you try a grammar book, another day you read something, but if it's not connected to a clear vision, it will not take you far. So ask yourself, why do I want to learn English? Is it for a better job? To travel? To study abroad? To make friends around the world? Or maybe to understand movies and songs without subtitles? Once you know your reason, you can shape your learning around it. Let's take an example. Imagine two learners, Omar and Lena. Omar says, I just want to learn some English. Lena says, I want to speak confidently in English within 2 years so I can work in an international company. Omar learns a little here and there, but after 2 years, he still feels stuck. Lena, however, plans her learning according to her goal. She focuses on speaking practice, learns job-related vocabulary, and builds her confidence step by step. Who do you think reaches their goal? Exactly, Lena. Because she began with the end in mind. I want you to pause for a moment and imagine yourself 5 years from now. Where are you? What are you doing? Are you speaking English in a meeting? Are you traveling to new countries without fear? Are you helping your children with their homework in English? Picture it clearly. Imagine the clothes you are wearing, the place you are standing, the people around you. Feel that moment. That vision is your end, your destination. Once you have that picture in your mind, you can start creating a path toward it. If your goal is to study abroad, your daily actions will include practicing academic English and preparing for exams like IELTS or TOEFL. If your goal is to get a better job, you might focus on business English and professional communication. The beauty of this habit is that it gives your life direction. Without direction, you can be busy every day but still go in circles. With direction, every step you take brings you closer to where you want to be. But here's something important. Your vision should be about more than just achievements. It should also be about the kind of person you want to become. Do you want to be confident, kind, disciplined, and helpful? Write that down. Because if you become the person you admire, success will naturally follow. Here's a small exercise for you. Take a notebook. On one page, write, My end goal. Describe in detail what you want your life to look like in 5 years. On the next page, write, My first steps. List the small actions you can take this week to move in that direction. This will give you a clear map for your journey. Remember, starting with the end in mind doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. Life will still bring surprises, but if you have a vision, you will adjust your path without losing your way. It's like sailing a ship. Storms may push you off course, but if you know where your harbor is, you can always correct your direction. So far, you have learned 2 powerful habits. First, be proactive. Take control of your life. Second, begin with the end in mind. Know where you are going. But there's one more thing. Even if you know your destination, you need to know how to manage your daily actions to actually get there. Because a goal without daily focus is just a dream. And that's exactly what we will talk about in the next chapter. Chapter 3, Put First Things First. Focus on what matters most. You've learned the first two habits. Be proactive, take control of your life, and begin with the end in mind. Know your destination. But now comes the question, how do you move toward that destination every single day? The answer is the third habit, put first things first. This habit is all about priorities. It means focusing on what is truly important, not just what feels urgent at the moment. Important things are the actions that bring you closer to your long-term goals. Urgent things are the ones that scream for your attention right now, but they don't always help you reach your dreams. Here's a simple way to see the difference. Imagine you're learning English. An important task might be practicing speaking for 20 minutes a day. An urgent task might be replying to every single notification on your phone. The urgent task feels like it must be done immediately, but in reality, it doesn't help you improve your English. Many people confuse urgent with important. They spend their whole day putting out small fires, answering unimportant messages, checking social media again and again, watching random videos. At the end of the day, they feel busy but not satisfied. They have done a lot, but not the things that truly matter. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine two friends, Aisha and Bilal. Both want to improve their English. Aisha decides that her most important task is to read an English article every morning and learn 5 new words. She does this before checking her phone or starting other work. Bilal says, "I'll study when I have time." Every day, Bilal wakes up, checks social media, answers group chats, and spends hours scrolling through videos. At night, he says, "I'll study tomorrow." Who do you think makes progress after a few months? Of course, Aisha. Not because she has more time, but because she gives her most important task the first place in her day. Now, I want to make this interactive. Think for a moment. What are 3 important tasks in your life right now that you often delay? It could be reading for your studies, exercising for your health, practicing English speaking, or spending time with family. Write them down. Seeing them on paper makes you more aware of how often you ignore them. The truth is, our life is shaped by the small, important actions we repeat every day. You don't have to make huge changes overnight. But if you take one small, important step daily over time, the results will be huge. Imagine reading for 15 minutes every day. In a year, that's over 90 hours of reading. Imagine practicing English speaking for 10 minutes a day. In a year, that's more than 60 hours of speaking practice. Here's a tip. Try doing your most important task first thing in the morning. This way, it's done before the urgent distractions start taking your time. If you wait until the end of the day, urgent things will always push it away. Let me share a short story. A professor once brought a jar into his classroom. He filled it with big rocks and asked, "Is the jar full?" The student said, "Yes." Then he poured small pebbles into the jar. They filled the spaces between the rocks. Again he asked, "Is it full?" The students laughed and said, "Yes." Then he poured sand into the jar, filling every tiny gap. Finally, he said, "If you don't put the big rocks in first, they will never fit later." Your big rocks are your most important tasks, the things that matter most in your life. If you don't do them first, urgent but unimportant things will take up all your time, just like the sand. So, starting today, ask yourself every morning, what are my big rocks today? Do them first. Protect them from distractions. Over time, you'll notice that your life feels more organized, less stressful, and much more productive. Remember, putting first things first is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. Even if you only do 1 or 2 important things in a day, you'll still be moving toward your goals. And here's something powerful. When you focus on what matters, you start having more control over your time. You say no to things that waste it. You spend more of it on things that build your future. Now that you know how to focus on what's truly important, there's one more thing to remember. You are not living alone on an island. Life is full of relationships. The way you treat others, the way you work with people, the way you create opportunities for both sides, this can decide how far you go. And that's exactly what we will talk about in the next chapter. Chapter 4, Think Win-Win. Build mutual success. Now that you know how to focus on what's important in your life, it's time to learn a habit that can change the way you see people and opportunities. This is the 4th habit, Think Win-Win. In simple words, win-win means both sides benefit. It's not about me winning and you losing. It's not about you winning and me losing. It's about finding a way where we both win. Effective people don't believe that for one person to succeed, another person must fail. They believe that success grows when it is shared. Let's make it simple with a real-life example. Imagine you and a classmate are both learning English. You're good at grammar, but your classmate is good at pronunciation. If you only think about yourself, you might keep your grammar tips secret and focus only on improving your own skills. But if you think win-win, you share your grammar knowledge with your classmate, and in return, they help you with pronunciation. The result? You both improve faster than if you were working alone. This is the beauty of win-win thinking. Everyone grows. But sadly, many people live with a win-lose mindset. They believe life is like a cake with only a few slices. If someone else gets a slice, they think there's less for them. They compete for crumbs instead of creating bigger pies. Here's an emotional truth. Life is not a fixed-size cake. You can always bake a bigger one. Opportunities are not limited. When you help others succeed, you open more doors for yourself too. This is true in friendships, in business, and yes, in learning English. For example, if you help a friend practice English, you're not wasting your time. You're improving your own speaking skills, building stronger relationships, and creating a partner who may help you in the future. Every time you explain something in English to someone else, you also understand it better yourself. Here's a quick language tip. In English conversations, don't just focus on speaking. Focus on listening and helping the other person express themselves. If they are searching for a word, help them. If they make a mistake, gently correct them in a friendly way. You will be surprised how much your own skills improve when you focus on making the other person's English better too. Win-win thinking also makes life less stressful. When you see others as partners instead of threats, you stop feeling jealous or afraid of their success. You start celebrating it. And when you celebrate others, they are more likely to support you back. Let me share a story. A man named Andrew Carnegie was one of the richest men in America's history. He built his success by thinking win-win. He didn't try to do everything alone. Instead, he worked with people who had different skills, made sure they benefited from working with him, and in return, they helped him build his empire. He often said, "No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or get all the credit for doing it." That's pure win-win thinking. You can apply this in your daily life starting today. If you're in a study group, share your resources. If you're working on a project, give credit to others. If you meet someone learning English, exchange skills. Maybe you can practice speaking while they help you with writing. Now, some people might say, but what if others don't think win-win? Won't they just take advantage of me? That's a fair question. Win-win does not mean you let others use you or that you give away everything for free. It means you look for solutions where both sides feel good about the result. If someone is only taking without giving, that's not win-win. That's win-lose, and you have the right to protect yourself. Start small. Look for one situation today where you can create a win-win outcome. It could be as simple as sharing your notes with a classmate in exchange for their help with pronunciation, or offering to help a colleague with a task while they teach you something new. Over time, you'll notice that win-win thinking builds trust, friendship, and long-term success. This habit is more than a strategy. It's a way of seeing the world, a belief that there is enough success, enough opportunity, and enough happiness for everyone if we work together. But here's the thing. To truly create win-win relationships, you must first understand the other person's needs, dreams, and challenges. You can't make both sides win if you don't know what the other side wants. And that brings us to the next habit, one of the most powerful skills you can ever learn. Chapter 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood if you want to be a great communicator. In life and in English, here's one golden rule. Listen before you speak. It sounds simple, but in reality, most people do the opposite. They wait impatiently for their turn to talk. They half listen while thinking about what they will say next. They interrupt. They give advice too quickly. And as a result, they miss the heart of what the other person is trying to say. The habit of seeking first to understand, then to be understood means that you slow down. You pay full attention. You give the other person the gift of being heard. Only after you truly understand them do you share your own thoughts. Why listening matters more than you think. Imagine your friend is upset. They had a bad day. You can tell something is wrong. They start talking about their problem. But instead of really listening, you jump in and say, "Oh, you should do this," or "Don't worry, it's not that bad." You think you're helping. But often, this makes the person feel ignored or misunderstood. Because they weren't looking for a quick fix. They wanted empathy first, someone to listen, to understand their feelings before offering advice. Here's the truth. When you listen first, you build trust. And when people trust you, they listen to you in return. The connection to learning English. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with speaking English? The answer is everything. When you have a conversation in English, your goal is not just to speak, it's to communicate. And communication is two-way. Listening is how you understand the meaning behind the words. It's how you catch new vocabulary, notice pronunciation, and understand cultural context. For example, if someone asks you, "How's it going?" but you're only half listening, you might think they're asking for details about your day and start a long explanation. But if you listen carefully, you'll notice the tone and context. They're probably just greeting you, and a simple "good, thanks" is the best response. Listening carefully makes your answers faster, smarter, and more natural. You learn faster because your brain connects meaning to real-life usage. A simple listening exercise for English learners. Here's something you can try today. Next time you watch an English video or listen to a podcast, pause after every short part and repeat in your own words what you heard. You don't have to translate, just paraphrase in simple English. Example, if you hear, "I've been feeling a bit under the weather lately," you might say, "Oh, they mean they've been sick recently." This exercise forces you to understand first before trying to produce your own sentences. Over time, this will make your speaking sharper and your listening more confident. How understanding builds relationships. Think about the people you trust most in your life. They probably have one thing in common. They make you feel heard. They don't rush you. They don't interrupt. They make you feel safe to express your thoughts. When you practice this habit in English conversations, something magical happens. People start enjoying talking to you, not because your grammar is perfect, but because you make them feel valued. And when people enjoy talking to you, they naturally talk more, which means more listening practice for you and more chances to respond. This is how listening becomes your secret weapon for fluency. A story to remember. Let's say you're in an English study group. One student is shy. They hesitate before speaking. You notice this, and instead of jumping in to answer the teacher's question, you wait. You let them speak first. You listen carefully, nodding and showing you're interested. Later, when it's your turn, you give your answer, but you also refer to something they said. "I agree with what Sarah mentioned about, and I think." This small act does two things. It shows you were listening. It makes the other person feel respected and included. And here's the emotional magic. That person is now more likely to support you, help you with your English, and become a true learning partner. People remember good listeners. It's a fact. People may forget your exact words, but they will remember how you made them feel. If you make someone feel understood, they will never forget you. Being understood is powerful. But being the person who understands others first? That's unforgettable. And here's the bonus. When you take the time to truly understand someone else's thoughts, your own thoughts become clearer. Your responses are stronger because they are based on reality, not assumption. Your challenge before you speak in your next conversation, in English or your native language, pause for a moment and ask yourself, do I fully understand what the other person is saying? Am I listening with the goal to respond or the goal to understand? If it's the first one, slow down. Listen again. Ask a clarifying question if you need to. Example questions in English. Do you mean? Can you explain that part again? So what you're saying is? These simple phrases not only help you understand better, but also show the other person you care about getting it right. The emotional payoff when you start living this habit, you'll notice something beautiful. People open up to you more. Conversations feel deeper. You feel less pressure to perform and more freedom to connect. And in English learning, connection beats perfection every single time. Smooth transition to the final habit. By now, you've learned to focus on what matters, build win-win situations, and truly understand others before sharing your own thoughts. And when you understand others deeply, you're ready for the final step, working together to achieve more than you ever could alone. Chapter 6, Synergize. Work together to create more. Synergy is a big word, but its meaning is very simple. It means that when people work together, they can create something bigger and better than what they could do alone. Imagine one stick. It can break easily. But if you tie many sticks together, they become strong. That is synergy, strength in unity. In life, you may have skills, ideas, and knowledge. Your friend may have different skills, ideas, and knowledge. Alone, you can both do something. But together, you can do something amazing, something neither of you could do alone. Let's take a relatable example. Imagine you are in a group project for school or work. You are good at writing. Another teammate is great at speaking. Another is skilled at designing slides. If each person only works alone, the results might be okay but not impressive. But if you combine your skills, the writing becomes clear, the slides look beautiful, and the presentation sounds confident. That's the power of synergy. Synergy is not just about sharing the workload. It's about combining strengths in a way that multiplies results. 1 plus 1 is not just 2. In synergy, 1 plus 1 can be 3, 5, or even 10. In English learning, synergy can be a game changer. Think about studying English with a group of friends. Alone, you may practice speaking for 10 minutes. But in a group, you practice listening to different accents, answering different questions, and thinking in new ways. You might learn a word from one friend, a pronunciation tip from another, and a joke in English from someone else. All of that comes together to make your learning faster and more fun. Working with others also multiplies creativity. When people share ideas, one idea can inspire another, and soon you have a chain of thoughts that leads to something new. For example, you and your friend are practicing a dialogue in English. You say one line. Your friend replies in a funny way. You both laugh, and suddenly you have a creative story to share. This kind of inspiration often happens only when we are with others. Synergy also opens doors to opportunities. When you work with others, you build relationships. People remember how you made them feel and how well you cooperated. They may invite you to future projects, events, or even jobs. Many successful people say their biggest opportunities came from the people they worked with, not from working alone. Here's an emotional truth. Alone, you can go fast. But together, you can go far. Going fast is not always the goal. Sometimes, you need to go far to build something lasting, meaningful, and powerful. This is true for friendships, careers, and personal growth. But synergy does not happen automatically. It requires trust, respect, and open-mindedness. You must value the strengths of others, not see them as threats. You must listen to their ideas, even if they are different from yours. Sometimes, people avoid teamwork because they think, it's faster if I just do it myself. Yes, maybe it is faster for small things. But for big dreams, teamwork is the only way. There's another important point. Synergy also works across cultures and languages. When you connect with people from different countries, you bring different ways of thinking together. This creates richer conversations, better problem solving, and more interesting experiences. If you are learning English, this is a huge benefit, because English is a bridge language that connects you to people all over the world. Think about a time you worked with someone and felt proud of what you achieved together. Maybe you built something, solved a problem, or created a performance. Remember that feeling? That's synergy. It's not just about the result. It's about the journey of working together, sharing, and creating something bigger than yourself. So, How can you create synergy in your life? Join study groups. Learning with others can double your progress. Share your strengths, offer what you are good at, and learn from what others are good at. Celebrate team success. When the group wins, everyone wins. Be open to new ideas. The best ideas often come from unexpected places. Synergy makes life richer, learning faster, and goals easier to reach. It teaches you that you don't have to do everything alone. It reminds you that the best things in life are often created together. Now you have learned 6 habits, from being proactive, to beginning with the end in mind, to putting first things first, to thinking win-win, to seeking first to understand, and finally, to synergizing. These habits can transform your life if you use them every day. But there's one more thing, a habit that holds all of them together. Without it, the others slowly weaken. With it, the others grow stronger every day. Let's talk about that final habit. Chapter 7. Sharpen the saw. Keep growing and improving. Imagine you are cutting wood with a saw. At first, the saw is sharp and the work feels easy. But after a while, the blade becomes dull. You push harder, but the wood doesn't cut as fast. If you keep going without stopping to sharpen the saw, you will tire yourself out, and your work will slow down. The same thing happens in life. Your saw is you, your body, your mind, your skills. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't keep learning and growing, you will lose your strength, focus, and passion. Sharpening the saw means taking time to rest, learn, and grow so you can keep being effective in everything you do. It's not about working nonstop until you burn out. It's about balance. You can't run a car forever without fuel. You can't use your phone forever without charging it. And you can't live your life forever without refreshing your body, your mind, and your spirit. Taking care of your body is your main tool for living. If you don't take care of it, your energy will run out. Eat healthy food, drink enough water, move your body every day. You don't need to run a marathon or join a gym. Simple habits like walking, stretching, or dancing to your favorite song can keep you healthy. When your body is strong, your mind also works better. Think about this. If you are tired, hungry, or sick, can you really focus on speaking English or learning something new? Probably not. But if you feel energetic, your brain becomes more active, your mood improves, and learning feels easier. Growing your mind, sharpening the saw, also means feeding your mind with new ideas. In English learning, this means reading, listening, and speaking regularly, even when you already feel good enough. Some people stop practicing once they reach a certain level. That's when their saw becomes dull. You can sharpen your English skills by reading books or articles every day, listening to podcasts, songs, or conversations, speaking with friends, teachers, or even to yourself in the mirror, writing your thoughts, plans, or stories in English. The more you practice, the sharper your English becomes. Just like a saw gets sharper with regular maintenance, your skills get stronger with regular use. Renewing your spirit life is not just about work and study. You also need joy, peace, and connection. Spend time with people you love. Do hobbies that make you happy. Enjoy nature. Take moments to breathe and be grateful. When your heart feels full, you have more patience, kindness, and creativity to give to others. In English learning, this could mean joining a fun language club, watching movies you enjoy, or playing games in English. When learning feels fun, your motivation stays alive. Why sharpening the saw matters in English learning. When you take care of yourself and keep improving, you can learn English faster and enjoy the process more. Imagine two learners. Learner A studies English hard for 3 months, never rests, and then stops because they feel exhausted. Learner B studies a little every day, rests when needed, and keeps learning for years. Learner B will become fluent because they can keep going without burning out. Learning English is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You need to keep your energy, focus, and curiosity alive for the long journey. Life is a long journey in life. There will always be new challenges, new problems to solve, new skills to learn. If you don't sharpen your tools, your mind, your body, your abilities, you will get stuck. But if you keep improving, you can face each challenge with confidence. Think of a tree. Every year, it grows new rings inside its trunk. It becomes stronger and taller. You should be like that tree, growing a little every year. Even if your growth is slow, it's still progress. The final motivation: these 7 habits are not magic. They won't change your life in one day. But they are powerful because they are choices you can make every single day. You can choose to care for your health. You can choose to learn something new. You can choose to listen, to plan, to work with others. You can choose to sharpen your saw. Start small. Read 1 page in English today. Take a short walk. Drink more water. Call a friend and listen to them. These small actions may not seem important at first, but they build a stronger, sharper, better you. And here's the truth. Life doesn't get easier, but you can get stronger. Every day you sharpen your saw, you are preparing yourself for the next step, the next challenge, the next dream. So keep growing, keep improving, keep your saw sharp, and you will be ready for anything. Now you know the 7 habits of highly effective people, but remember, knowing them is only the first step. The real change happens when you live them every single day. So here's my challenge for you. Which habit will you start practicing today? Will you begin with be proactive, or maybe sharpen the saw? Share your answer in the comments. Your words might inspire someone else to take action. If this video helped you, give it the like so more people can discover these life-changing habits. And if you want more simple, powerful lessons to keep growing, subscribe now. We're building a community of learners who support each other, grow together, and win together, 1 habit at a time.